What would be cool is to combine the key event and the timer event. And if we do that, we'll have something like this, where it doesn't move until we press the space bar. And then we press the space bar and it stops. Press the space bar, it starts. Press the space bar again, it stops. So in order to have it do that, we could do it with event listener for frames, and we could just have it rotate on the frames. But this is going to be better. It's more efficient, and it works better. So we have to have a detection to see if the space bar is pressed, and then we have to see if it has been already pressed once. And if it's already been pressed once, then when we press it again, it'll stop it. And that's kind of cool to be able to trigger things off and on. So I'm going to go to my actions. Show the action script. Bring it over. I typed this out earlier today. Sort of like Martha Stewart having everything cooked already before the show started. So you may want to go and look at the file or even print out the code for yourself. The file that I'm using is called timerexample.fla. Now, this is called, I start off with variable myTimer. And just as before, we create an object that runs 20 times a second. Is that right? 50 into 1,000 is probably close. Anyways, it runs a whole bunch. Timer switch. Now this comes into play because the timer switch is what's going to detect if I have pressed the space bar or not. It's going to switch it off or on. So the Boolean is going to be either false if it's off and true if it's on. So if I press the space bar, we'll change the Boolean to true. I believe that's how it's working. Okay, now we add the event to our stage. Now remember, it can be added to other objects, so you could actually swap this out and add it to another object. Instead of saying stage, have the event listener work with a different object. Cool. It'll probably still work for the most part. Now, on keyboard event, key down. You press key down, and it will run the function called key pressed. We make a timer, just as before. So it's a little different place. I had to mix it up a little bit, but from before for things to work for me. But here I create a timer. I add an event listener, timer event, and it is going to run the on timer function every time that we have that timer event occur. But notice there's not any start yet. I haven't done a start. I'm not going to do the start until the person presses the spacebar. Okay, rotate the planet. So when the timer event occurs on timer, then we have our function where the planet actually rotates. So kind of as before, but it's not going to occur until we have it start. See, there's no start. No start here. Where's the start? Where's the start? Ah, there's the start. So here's the key. Literally. The function on key pressed. Remember, it's up here on line 6. That on key pressed function will execute when we press a key. So actually, we don't have to press the spacebar yet. We just press any key, and it triggers this. So line 22, we want to check and see, well, what it was. So this is a little bit complex, so put on your thinking cap here. I mean, it's, if you aren't used to seeing code much, then it'll look like a foreign language here. But we're just checking that event type. And remember that before, every time you press the space bar, every time you press a key, you get a key code as long as you're checking for it. So we want to check and see if it's the space bar. So we say keyboard.space, and that space is in uppercase. And then we have the two ampersigns, the ands, right here. And we're going to see if you're pressing the space bar and the timer switch is false. So you're seeing if, has the space bar been pressed already? No. Well, if it hasn't been pressed yet, then you start your timer. And remember up here, it's kind of cool because inside your timer now, you're going to rotate 5 pixels every single 20 times a second. So it's going to go kind of fast. But just, now we have to switch that timer. We got to say, oh, the timer's on. We press the space bar. So now we switch it to true. So the next time that we press that space bar, see, the next time we press it, we press the space bar, the stage goes, hey, we're pressing something. Let's run on key pressed. Come down here to on key pressed. And we're going to check and see what's going up here. And it checks to see, has it been pressed? Yes. Does timer switch false? No, it's not false because, you see, we switched it to true. So, else if the keyboard is space and the timer switch is true, then we stop our timer. Now you could actually, as it says in the book, you could actually clean up that event listener. You can clear it out. That's an option, but I want the timer event to stay there so I can keep restarting it and stopping it again. And then I just switch timer event to false, just a switch. And sometimes you can hear it called a flag. So if a flag is up or flag is down, and depending on how it's going to work. So you can mess around with this. Just switch out an object, switch out the planet, and rename that planet to an object that you have. Play around with the time. Play around with the space bar. Make it something else besides a space bar. And if you can figure out how to do a return key on a Macintosh, then you get extra bonus kudo points.